Well, good morning, Indian Town. Good morning, Martin County. Wow, the things going on around us here when you look at the go and flow of your government in action. Woo, man, you got to watch some of this stuff for yourself to believe it. Went to the meeting last night, which was the 14th day of the fifth month of the year 2026, which means today is the 15th day of the fifth month in 2026. That meeting last night with the village had to leave early. I could not take it anymore. The complete lack of sincerity and just the oh God, you're gonna have to watch it for yourself. Anyway, here we go. I want to start out with some public speakers so you can get a gist for what was going on. And we're going to kind of take this apart little by little as we go through here. Notice, too, that when you go back and watch the full meeting, that there was never one mention of any of the deficiencies that our groups found with the current PUD. Everyone from staff said everything was groovy, just groovy, and we found a couple of things that weren't just so fine that are going to have to be remediated because staff decided or overlooked or was incompetent or something. But how is it that we can come up with all of these things to put on the table, and when we say it, for some reason, you have Eric derangement syndrome? You don't like the way we speak. You don't like the things we say. You don't like the things that we want done. So what do? You ignore us. You ignore us. It's too bad because you are digging your own hole. Anyway, we're going to move forward with this. Let's listen to some of the public speakers from last night. Here's your first. A good friend, a good neighbor, owner of W&W who has been affected by what's going on with this wonderful new grand thank you development. Oh, Terra Lago, Indian Town Savior. We'll be back. Here you go. Here's Dickie.
Alan Gillum, a resident of Little Ranch Estates. We have used Highway 609, Alapata Road, for 55 years of our life. What I'm concerned about is the 50-acre commercial property. If you live or if you travel or if you go up and down 609, pretty much any time of the day, you go to this intersection right here, and there might be 20 or 25 cars ahead of you. You can be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock, and it takes a long time to get out on Highway 710. Now, I know they've proposed doing the road this way, doing the road that way. You know, that's all well and good. But, you know, what happens is you come into a residential agricultural neighborhood and asking for 50 acres of commercial property. I just seen on here urban sprawl. You don't want us to do any of that. But we as residents out there, I guess we have to worry about commercial sprawl because that's exactly what it is. You're coming down the busiest road in Indian Town and you want 50 acres of property to turn into a commercial nightmare with traffic. Now, when you ride down through town, when you turn on Alapata Road, there's 37 acres of commercial property right there. You know, I've heard 2 or 3 things about the fire department. Right across from that 37 acres for sale would be a perfect place for a fire department. There's probably 5+ acres right there. You go past W&W Lumber, and when you get to our fence, from there all the way up to Three Amigos, that's all available. There's for sale signs on it. 35 acres right up here at the bridge for sale, 10 acres right there past Seminole Drive for sale, commercial property. You know, I don't really see, in my eyes, need for commercial property. It's great that they're going to build the shopping center there for you can put restaurants and you put doctor's offices right here on Highway 710 and not impact all the lives of people that live on Alapata Road 609. And that's the issue. You know, all this looks good, sounds good, but a lot of times there's always negative. You see this red line on your map here. That's our fence line right there. They put a drainage ditch in there that never was there, that was approved, I'm sure, by the village council. and it did exactly what it said. It drained our ponds. It drains the water off our property to be able to sustain animals that we have there to graze. You know, like I say, it all sounds good, but there's always negative things that happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's true. You heard it. They dug the ditch, the pond went dry. That's just one of many, many stories. And why build commercial right up against agricultural residential? See, they do not take anything outside of the borders of the village of Indiantown into consideration when they are doing any of their planning. They just don't do it. Why? Because they don't have to. Because they have been told that they are a development friendly community where people can come to make things easier to get stuff developed. Screw the people that live there. We want your tax revenue for our government. Now, let me ask you this. If I and Dickie and a few others had not brought some of the things up that we're bringing up, do you think anybody would have said anything? No. And how do I know that? Because no one brought them up but us. So this just shows public participation does have a place in this, but you can't be complacent. Here we go. Next speaker. That would be moi.
Eric Miller.
My name's Eric Miller. I live in Little Ranch Estates, and I am an affected party to this PUD, and the word injunctive relief comes to mind one more time. First, the hydrology, which has been mentioned. Their pond is not the first. Everyone on that side of the road, their generational ponds have emptied. They've had fish kills this year, where in the past 75 years, those ponds have never gone dry until South Florida Water Management District and all the wonderful permitting that you do through your LDRs has full control over all this, and everything's fine until there's a problem. Well, there's a problem now. The 6 acres, there's 6 acres that are coming out for this fire station. In 1A, if you go back and you watch the video, Josh promised to everyone that there would be 6 acres for dry storage, which was on Dina's slide, crossed out, showing it's going away. That dry storage was promised to people that live in the HOA in there, that they could go out with their work vehicles and have a place to park it. It was a sales point being made to them. You've opened the master plan up, and now we're asking for changes to something that was approved a long time ago. That's a big change. There's also an aggressive acceleration of the development phases. There are no lighting standards to help protect us on the boundaries. All right, we have livestock. We came to a rural community. We have lived here, some of the families, for over 100 years. So you need to adapt to us. Even though we are not in the village, we are neighbors, and if we don't get that adaptation, we're going to have to act the same way. The dirt and the noise, we all remember what happened. There were rules in place before. There were promises things were going to happen, and you're getting closer to my home now. You know, we need some kind of an agreement before this thing is passed, and you have one more meeting to listen to some of these things, and I have put proposals forward. I'm not just complaining. I have put ideas on the table. There are wetlands, the road that has to be changed. It wasn't mentioned that there is less than 1 acre, just about 1 acre of wetlands now that have to be taken out for that road to be moved. Why? They're wetlands. Wetlands protections are in place, right? They were there before. The land continuity is inconsistent. Look at us. It's the same thing that happened with the prior PUD that just went through. You look around it, everything around it is agricultural. The only thing that it had was a little tip to an industrial. This one, on the back side of this, on the north side, we are not commercial, we are not residential, we are not industrial. We need our night for our livestock. I depend on my livestock for food. I am self-sufficient on my property. I came here for a reason, not to live in an industrial town. And I will do what is necessary to preserve that lifestyle for me and my family. I hope we can do it amicably, but if not, we'll find a way to do it one way or another. I thank you for listening.
All right, I want to do a little bit of mischaracterization update on that one. The 1 acre for moving a road is not in this change order, so it was a little mischaracterized in the way that I presented it, but It did happen. Josh has said there had never have been any wetlands that have been impacted by this, and that is not the truth. What I was trying to emphasize here is that from the beginning until now, there have been a lot of changes from the approved project. It's why bother going through an approval if you've got to make all of these changes? It seems to me that if you're going to do this, you'd sell it in easy, right? Oh, we're going to do these little things, and then all of a sudden it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Once you get your first approval, now you just have to go in for modification, and there's always nice reasons why we can modify things. But anyway, the road that we spoke about and the wetlands, that was for the Sandy Oaks PAMP amendment. There was a road construction agreement back in February of 23, and a road had to be moved, and it did consume just under 1 acre of wetland, Josh. Just so you remember, that did take place. Now, that was through the February 2023 Sandy Oaks PAMP Amendment, Road Dedication and Road Construction Agreement. A 62, let's see, parcel dedicated, committed construction, Americana, improvement, impact, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so anyway, it did happen. It doesn't look like it's a major impact on anything. However, it was 0.937 acres, okay, from the Sandy Oaks Preserve to accommodate the Southwest American Street. They say that the wetland interfaces have been more precisely defined in phases 1A and 1B. Why don't we get precise from the beginning? And that's kind of my point going into the hydrology thing here, too. You were not precise, and now you get an oops, go back and do over? I don't think so, Jack. This one ain't working. So hang on. There's more speakers to come. Here we go.
Victor Abreu.
All right, Victor Abreu is my name. I'm a longtime resident of Indiantown. I moved here in 1972 to get away from people, lots of people and crowds, houses where you can't walk between the two houses without touching them. All you guys are doing is just, let's let it happen. You know what? You're gonna have the same problems that Dade had, Broward had, Palm Beach had, and you're moving the problems up here. That's not why I moved here, and I hope it's not why some of you have come up here to live. This is a peaceful area. It's been that way. It really needs to stay that way. It's bad enough that Martin County is growing at an unprecedented, stupid rate. Now we're bringing it here to Indiantown. I hope you all think about it because it really stinks.
Sheila.
Well, Mr. Abreu didn't need a full 3 minutes. I think he got his point out really, really well. You came from Broward. You brought Broward with you. Go back to Broward. That would be my answer. Anyway, I kind of agree with you. It really, really stinks. All of this unbridled development. Do you folks realize that there are 4.5 million square feet of development, approved development, and they're approving more? Oh yeah, they think it's good. They think that Stuart West is the best thing for you. Election time's coming, kids. Hang on. There's more. Oh, to the next lady that is in Terra Lago? Wow. Are you for real? Listen to this.
Sheila Rosario for the record. I am greatly appreciated that we have Terra Lago. I actually was coming to ask a couple questions, but since this is a ball of negative energy, but it's open speech, so I'm going to open speech in a positive way.
Well, darling, that ball of negative energy seems to be people that are pushing back against being stepped on like little cockroaches. That, these people look down their nose at us and they just keep inflicting these pains so that people like you and your little HOA can get together in the town of Indiantown. So before you start talking about negativity, wait until you start to feel the pinch, sister.
Yep, I moved from another area, and I'm happy to be here. You know why? Because you still don't have a Walmart, and I'm happy we don't have a Walmart because we're still quiet.
So let me get this straight. You came here from somewhere else that was overly populated, like Mr. Abreu was saying, but he was negative and you're not. And you're happy that there's not a Walmart, and so are we, but we're negative and you're not. And you're happy that there's not a Walmart because why? That's over commercialization, over development. You moved here because this was a quiet rural community. Is that what I'm hearing from you? Ah, well, wait until the overdevelopment starts to show up at your front door, sister. And when this place that you just spent $300,000-$400,000 for doesn't meet your expectations of what a small, quiet community is supposed to be interested in seeing how negative you think things are.
Happy that I have neighbors because when somebody buys a case of corn in my neighborhood, you know what? They knock on my door and they say, "Would you like some corn?" So when you think that we aren't neighbors, we are neighbors. We have our own little community.
Okay, guys, this is where it starts every time. Did you catch that? We are neighbors. We have our own little community. And when the rest of us that have been here for a long time start to not fit in with their HOA community, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to whine. They're going to complain. They're coming after you. That's why Save the Chicken Act. Save the chickens. They want your chickens gone. These steps are starting already, and unless you get involved and speak up, they're going to get worse. Best thing you could do, vote these bums out of office.
So I understand that you're here and I understand that you're upset because I see the little turtles walking by my street and we go and bring them back. But please don't come attacking us because this has been a lot of negative energy you have been bringing here. This is still open to everybody and you're making it really uncomfortable for people that want to have a freedom of speech in a good way too.
I'm not quite sure what she means, why she doesn't feel comfortable bringing her positive energy in there when she's the only one deriding everyone else about how negative they're being, and she feels like she can't come in and speak her positive mind. I don't get it, guys. I really just don't understand what's happening in this world. It's upside down and inside out, and we've kind of forgotten what reality actually is.
HOA guidelines, will they change our CDD fees? And also, will the new place have their own HOA? And I'm asking this openly because it can affect everybody and everybody that's moving in. And I'm sorry I'm shaky because this is not what I was planning to say. I'm just been staying quiet for quite some time because it's been very uncomfortable to even come up here and speak because that's how it's been here. And I say that because you guys know that I have no problem speaking up, but it's been really, really, really not okay to come up here. And I hope that if you have something positive to say, don't be afraid because you have to balance out both sides of no matter what's going on. Thank you. So just think about that sometimes for everybody. Okay, so why I came up here. Since we're changing things I'm asking for myself and for my neighbors, I could ask you separately, but just in case if you can speak on it, will this change our HOA fees?
Josh, would you like to answer this?
Rosaria Martinez, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Do we have a,
Josh wanted to answer her question, but it's okay.
okay.
You see how this is? She comes up and she says, I'm positive, all of you are negative. She runs a little Karen, and what does she get? She gets another Karen to ask her. She interacts with her. She asks her she answers her question. Josh, can you answer her question? When we ask questions, do we get anything other than dirty looks and offhand comments about how rude, unacceptable, how come on, guys. There is a two-tier system that's put in place here, and evidently we're on the bottom rung.
Josh Kellum again for the record, CEO of the Garcia Companies, to address Sheila's comment. No, this 50 acres would be carved out of the HOA.
You see that? So when we ask questions or make comments about hydrology and how things are screwed up, does anyone stop and say thank you when we bring comments up about anything? Have you ever asked anyone else to come? No. But why do you do this? Why? What was it that prompted you to give more consideration to that one person than you do to us? I think you have Eric derangement syndrome.
And I do just want to answer or address one other comment that was made. There was a comment by a speaker that was made that the new road would impact an acre of wetland. The new road will impact 0 wetlands.
Josh is correct on that. The new road will impact 0 wetlands. The fact of the matter is it's already impacted them, as you have been told. But here, let's take tape.
As our planner mentioned, there's 0 impacts to wetlands. There has been 0 impacts to wetlands on Terra Lago, and there will remain 0 impacts to wetlands on Terra Lago.
Well, we've already shown that that's not true, so we'll see if Josh comes back and corrects his statement on that. But these are the inadequacies, and staff looks at him like he's some glorious messenger from beyond that can't do any wrong. You know, I mean, come on, guys. Let's get real about things here.
Thank you.
Rosaria Martinez.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to speak what I just was thinking about. And I just want to remind you guys that you guys can say no to everything. Yes, they still have their thing going on, but to make another area for the public, I think that's kind of being a little suspicious to me. Maybe it's going to correlate to what FP&L has going on, and you know that's a fire hazard. But I think I'm just wanting to remind you guys it's okay to say no, and Terra Lago does have a lot of things going on, and that's good. But to continue to try to make something else out of it, it just is a little weird. And yeah, I've been hearing a lot of things about town trying to have regulation and code. People own their land here. Like, they pay the government and pay taxes for their houses. Land, I've been hearing people are being fined for having vehicles or I don't know what in their front yard. This is land. This is not a HOA town. But yeah, I just wanted to remind you guys that it is okay to say no. And you guys are in charge. You guys have the opportunity. Nobody else does. But just keep everybody else in mind. And to keep Indian Town, Indian Town. I think what you guys are talking about, restaurants, that's a good idea. But maybe like what somebody else mentioned, like on another property, that would look good. Thank you.
That's it, Mayor.
That's it.
I'd
I
like
have
to-
a comment.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk to Josh, too.
Yes, Josh, I think we're probably on the same.
Look, you can see this comes from a large cross-section of Indian Town. A lot of different people that just aren't happy with what's going on. When they're coming out this young and they're standing up for what they see as injustice, man, you got to know something is good happening in this world, because that fine young lady right there, she's doing what a lot of people need to do, standing up, speaking her mind. And I don't know why that makes the other lady feel so uncomfortable, but good job, Rose.
Thing. I want you to address the this situation with lights, the canal, the water drying up. Can you address that?
I can speak to that, yes.
Okay.
So lights, there is a lighting plan for Terra Lago, been approved under the guidelines of the village. I'm speaking on behalf of Eric.
Oh, Ms. Palmer, what is the situation with the lights? Are you 100% sure you actually know? Do you know what your LDR is? Because you've already approved Josh to use as he said, he's 100% right. We're using the lighting standards that are in place. He's not answering your question. The lighting standards that are in place are inadequate for this level of protection. It creates a light island in a dense rural environment. We were here first. I have to ask though, do you know what your lighting LDRs are? Do you know what section they fall under? Ms. Palmer? Have you read them? Do you think that it's adequate for protecting for the property line, that a light does not escape from the property line over into your neighbors that were here for a long time before this thing even was thought of? I'm not being a jerk. I'm asking a serious question. Have you read your LDR on the lighting that he has to go by? Because it's inadequate when there are better and higher standards available. And this kind of just goes to the case to show that your standards are so lax so that a developer doesn't have to spend the money or go through the effort to justify what they're doing with any kind of collateral support for bounding properties. It's it's right there in front of you. All you have to do is look and listen.
And as far as the relocation of the canal, that was permitted through South Florida Water Management District, as well as Martin County and the village of Indiantown on the new canal being dug. As far as ponds drying up, I mean, we are in a significant drought in the state of Florida, one of historical records since the early days, I think early 1900s.
Well, Josh, it would seem that you are out of order, seeing that you were sworn in and were told to only bring, I don't know, facts to the table. You're bringing hyperbole and pledges, and that doesn't quite cut it. However, I wanted to correct you on a couple of things because it is for the record. Drought.gov, that is NOAA's website that they use, went through, and I have done you a favor. And if you go to talkaboutmartin.com, I've put a recent timeline together going back into the 1940s, 1950s. And the extent of this, let's talk about what the government's official position is from 2025 to early 26 with peak intensity in winter and early spring, one of the most intense droughts in Florida since 2012, and described by some as the worst in 25 years. Described by some. Those would be the people in the media that are fear-mongering. So it developed through much of 25, intensified sharply in early 26, widespread extreme drought, D3 across large parts of the state, including the Treasure Coast, Martin, St. Lucie. Many areas received well below half the normal rainfall in key periods. Wildfire risk rose, blah, 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 blah. So, as we go back to this, I just want to tell you that during periods worse than this that were prior to your excavation for your canal that you say is now 50 feet across, that's a pretty significant canal. What's the pitch on that? That'll tell me how deep it is. Ooh, that's cool. All right, well, I got to tell you, Josh, you got to come to the table with the facts, Jack. That's what you keep telling us, and that's what we're doing. Look, man, you want me to be more respectful? I would say, Mr. Kellum, at this point, I would like to raise a point of order to say that your discussion on the drought is absolute Cornwaller. Just as a closing thought, too, you would think that being on the Board of Governors for the Fish and Wildlife Commission, that you would have a little a better sense of what exactly that date was for that drought. 2012. What would you said? 1900s, early
I'm
night.
not sure exactly
Anyway, Josh,
what
come on,
the
man,
exact date,
get with
but
it.
We are in a significant drought, so. um,
Okay, can we just please let him finish? Let's be civil, everybody, okay?
Yeah.
We appreciate all comments.
But I can't speak to people's individual.
Remember, Council, what he just said. It's your LDRs, the South Florida Water Management District, and Martin County that gave him permits because everything was okay to go do this. What happens when we come to the end of this? Remember what I've been saying about the efficacy of time? It's the arbiter of all truth. Well, when we come to the end of this and we find out that the hydrology studies did not take in those people here in Martin County and Little Ranch into effect, will you begin to listen a little bit more when we speak to you about more important things like data centers and hydrology works, or will you continue to listen to your experts that are brought in from the developers to tell you what's going on? Your standards are inadequate, your LDRs suck, and you can ask them for changes voluntarily to these. You don't do it, though. You stand there, you sit there, and you applaud them for being such gracious people, for coming to save the people of Indiantown. Oh, ha, ha, hee. All right, guys, if you made it this far, wow, I appreciate it. 30 minutes in, we still probably have another 30 minutes to go to unpack all of this. This is about the point that I and several other people got up and left. We threw our hands up in the air after listening to all of this hogwaller going on and basically trying to build a case for this guy to have to be in the right because we can't be in the wrong. Go team go. Look, man, it's the same rules that are going to apply if a data center gets built, and a data center is going to have much more impact than this thing's going to have, and this thing's a monster already. Good God. All right, listen. Enough said for now. This is the end of part 1. I am going to do a part 2 because there are some council comments that you just have to hear. You're not going to believe unless you hear them coming from the horse's mouth. So, as they say, enough said. No more out.